So today I'll show you how to fix a Samsung that's not able to boot it up from the hard drive. It's kind of like a loop. A lot of times if you turn the machine on, let me see which button that is. Oops, it's too fast now because I installed a solid state drive in this machine, but the problem I was having with this machine was it could not boot up from the hard drive at all. It was having issue kind of like selecting the hard drive to boot it up. You will see in the selection for the booting option, but I will not able to boot it up at all. One thing I was able to see, let me log off, actually reboot. When I go to the BIOS and then disable the fast boot, you should be able to boot up sometimes, and sometimes it will not boot up at all. It will just the hard drive turn off, turn back on, kind of like a loop. If you go right here, it's the fast BIOS mode, which I believe this is basically allows you to read out of the SSD drive from the motherboard, which allows you to boot it up these models faster. Now this model, let me see, was not showing the model for this Samsung, but the model for this Samsung is, let me see here, I'm not sure if you guys are able to read it there, but it's the NP530U3C, the 530 series. So what I did is I removed the motherboard completely out of this machine and removed the SSD drive, which is the cache drive. I believe it's about 8 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes depending on your system. That was the main problem. I also bought a motherboard from eBay thinking perhaps it was the motherboard. Replace it, same thing, same story. It couldn't boot up at all. Let me see if I have the options for booting up. It's too fast now. Anyway, so I will show you the chip that you need to remove out of the motherboard. Now again, if you remove the chip, you should be able to boot it up with no problems at all with a regular hard drive. But just remember, it's going to be a little bit slower because regular hard drive depends on that SSD drive to boot it up faster in these models in particular. Now I installed a solid state drive in this machine and I can run with no problem. It's fast enough. So now let me show you. This is a motherboard I bought on eBay for same model. Now again, what you need to do is basically remove the motherboard out of the laptop, the Samsung. Okay, once you remove it, let's assume this is the motherboard. Okay, what you need to do, normally the position of the board is kind of like this. Let me put it in perspective, kind of like that. Okay, so in this area you're not going to be able to see the cache drive. A lot of times the cache drive is kind of like a chip. You're able to remove it and you're fine, but in this particular model it's soldered to the board, so you need to extract it or remove it somehow. So you need to remove the whole thing apart, and then once you remove the board, in the other side you'll see this little guy. This is the SSD drive that fails. Now this is the older SSD that I was able to remove out of this machine and make it work. So this is the old SSD drive. Okay, so this is what you need to do. You need to remove it in order to work, because what's happening is the motherboard depends on this chip, and since this chip is defective, then the board is trying to read out of this, and since it's defective, will not boot up at all. So what I done was remove the board again, and then I got some foil here that I kind of cut it for protecting the rest of the chips. Of course you're going to do a little better than I did, but there it is. I cover it. Once I cover it, you know, protect it carefully, and then I heat it up with a heat gun about, I believe, about 2 minutes. And then once you heat it up, it's all hot, and then you're gonna need a tweezer or something to lift it up, basically pull it off out of the board. Once you do that, you're going to be able to move it out, take it off. Try being careful not to remove any other chip around it, because again, the main thing is this chip. This is the one you need to remove it somehow. So once you remove it, you're going to take this chip out, put it back, it should work. You shouldn't have any problems. I hope that helps to someone that's having the same problems, because I like this laptop. It's a really nice laptop, good CPU, it boots up fast. It's the RAM, 4 gigabytes RAM, it's built on the board, and by removing the chip I was able to save the motherboard. Anyways, I hope that helps, and I will be making more videos for trying to help out someone that needs help with some other models. Well, thank you.